You know, what are you laughing at? You got a filter on my face right now. What? So what do we say? Like,
Whatever you want to say.
or just say so, Kevin. We listen to. I don't know.
On like
That'll be good.
what type of person needs what type of support, and because you're the type of person you're like, hey, like I need someone to be in my corner whenever I'm down. I need them, and I'm kind of like, once I've made up my mind, like,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We can talk about that. I need to think. Okay.
I'm usually way louder, so I'm gonna move mine a tiny bit away.
Positive instance that happened this week. Okay. All right. I'm good. I'm ready. Positive instance that happened for me this week was I took. Well, it wasn't on purpose, but I was off work for 5 days.
Yeah, I was wondering why you did you do that intentionally or because you were sick?
I got sick, and then I had to
Okay.
do the 5 day thing, and it worked out because I needed a fucking vacation away from that place. But
Speaking of vacations, there's this sushi place in Chicago, so whenever we go, we need to go to it.
What's
Which
the
you don't
name?
like sushi, but it's like they serve it in like a pizza box or something.
What's the name of it?
I couldn't even tell you. I'd have to Google it, but
There, and also your place. What's your place with the snapper?
I forgot the name of the
You got the name? Yeah. Some places to try.
okay. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you good. But yeah. So I laid in bed and I did fucking nothing.
So you're a lazy piece of shit for a week.
For a
2 weeks. Not just 1 week, but 2 weeks.
One.
Well, you got sick 1 week and then you took 5 days off. Or is that
No,
the same
it
week?
was same week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the first 3 days I didn't feel good. The fourth day I felt okay. I tried to train, and my body was like, "No, you're still fucking sick." So then it's like that fifth day, I didn't feel well again. But none of them were so bad that like I was at home miserable.
What signs do you look for? 'Cause I was actually talking to someone today about, because I've trained literally like 8 or 9 days in a row because I've had people either ask me to train or because people have asked me to train, it kind of threw off what I would typically do. So I was going to incorporate some stuff in my rest days, but
Yeah.
ended up getting thrown way off this past week. And I was saying like once it catches up to me, I'll make sure I take those days.
Yeah.
But what's like a specific sign like when you went into the gym and you were like, oh shit, I'm still not feeling great? What was like, or even like overtraining type symptoms? Like, what do you feel?
I was on the reverse pec deck, and this was probably like third movement in to I think we were doing back, and I was just more fucking gassed than normal. Like,
Yeah.
my body was a little sore, and I was just sitting on the thing. I couldn't breathe. My breathing was not as good, and I was just sort of sitting there like, I just want to go home.
Yeah.
And that's how I knew I'm like, this is not normal. So, and I told Layla, I said, I've been sick, and then I felt better, and then I went to the gym, and as my body was like, dude, we've been feeling better because we've been resting.
Yeah.
You're not resting, so now I want to remind you that you're fucking sick.
Do you feel better sometimes when you do train? Like if you've been sick and you've kind of like not really done much, do you sometimes feel like if you go in and sweat, maybe not really like train very hard, but
Yeah.
like enough to get a little bit of a sweat going, do you feel like you sweat it out sometimes?
I can't say because I don't. Even when I tell myself I'm gonna go and just do a little something,
Yeah.
we never do.
Yeah, and by what I mean by not as hard,
To the average,
like 70% normal.
But your 70% looks different.
Yeah.
Than everyday.
Oh, you don't have to kiss my ass, Sean.
It's,
I know I haven't seen you in 2 weeks. But you don't have to kiss my ass.
But so I can't really say, but I guess I would say what depends on what I'm sick. Is it like a cold or is it like a headache?
Yeah.
Headache? Hell no, I'm not fucking going.
I know the first time I had COVID, which fortunately I had a home gym, I had some body aches like one day and I wasn't feeling like 100% after, but I was like, I'm not sitting in my house. Like, which granted it was still at my house, but like I went and obviously I wasn't strong. Like I would gas faster and things like that. But I felt like because I did get a sweat going, it kind of like sweated it out.
Snapped out of it.
But I don't always like, usually I feel better if I train a little bit.
Yeah.
But not always. So I was just kind of curious on your perspective on that.
Yeah. So, a positive note. So some of the questions we have for today topics. a positive instance for this week. So
Well, you said you took 5 days off.
for me, the 5 days, but I do have one I want to hit on. So I can show you a picture of him. Actually, he's pretty. I would say, and I could be speaking prematurely. I really hope not, but an ideal or close to what you would want to say is an ideal client.
Okay.
He's a hard worker on his
How,
own.
how old is he?
23.
Okay.
Super knowledgeable already. And I won't put his other business out there, but he's not new to things that we've talked about on this show.
Yeah.
And so I just sparked a random conversation with him maybe 2 months ago. And so now we always will talk when we see each other. And so maybe a week and a half ago, he saw me in there and we talked, and he told me what his new goals was and what he wanted to do in a year. He set a year goal for himself. And so I told him, have you ever thought about getting a coach? I didn't say me.
Yeah.
I just said, you probably have hit that point where you want to get over the hump, and it can maybe help you. So he says, yeah, I was actually thinking about this guy and you. And I was like, I'm just happy to be in the category of this other guy you're talking about. I forget the guy's name, but I looked him up and I was like, thank you. So, but I reiterated to him that I wasn't trying to sell my services.
Yeah.
I just think based on what you're telling me, that probably will be the next step.
Honestly, I think that being genuine in those senses and instances is, I know you're not trying to sell yourself, but anytime I go somewhere that has potential sales, as long as someone's honest with me, they're more than likely gonna get my business if I truly need it. Like, I just bought that car and I've been buying some parts for it, and I reached out to a company online. I've reached out to several.
Yeah.
And the customer service has just been piss poor, like online customer service and support and trying to get information, because this is all new to me.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting here trying to learn. And I reached out to this company that didn't even advertise that they sold parts for my car.
Yeah.
They had one part that I Googled and just pulled them up. And I reached out to customer service, and they responded instantly and was like, well, we don't normally, sell parts for your car, but we have those parts. Let me see what we can do. And dude, like,
you've been shopping ever since.
Yes, like everything that I needed that I could get from them,
Yeah.
like they were the first company I'd reach out to.
Yeah.
Just because of that.
I'm big on customer service.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a loyal consumer. Like, I'm gonna go to the same places and I'm gonna get the same shit until you make me feel like I shouldn't. But yeah, so that was a good thing. He starts tomorrow. And I just think that he has a lot of upside to him. Ask a shit ton of questions, which is what I want.
Yeah.
If you're not asking questions, man, either you know it all, which probably not, or you don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And at some point, if you don't give a fuck, it'll show when it gets hard, because it's gonna get hard. So,
do you think those questions should get less and less as he learns, though?
I won't say less. If they don't get less, it should be different.
Yeah.
Like my mom used to tell me, I was growing up, if you keep doing the same shit over and over, you're an idiot.
That's the definition of insanity.
Right. So I don't give a fuck if you fuck up. Do something different.
Yeah.
Okay. So if his questions don't lessen, then be different. Okay. But hell, if they don't lessen and it's the same, still ask.
Yeah.
Don't just fuck up. But as you learn and get experience, you learn different things to look for in clients. So the fact that he's asking all these questions and he's calling me and he's at next level shopping, and this is somebody that's fucking serious, and I saw him in there. I didn't want to cut you off. I saw him in there already for a while, working his ass off. Looks good. I think you've even seen him before.
He does have a good physique.
Yeah, he really does. So, and he's a tall guy, and he's young. So that's something good for me this week. That was made me happy.
Yeah. So, well, congrats on the new client, and hopefully a good one. I mean, he's already got a good base, and asking questions as long as they're
not stupid.
Yeah, I was trying to word that in a way that didn't.
Yeah. Talk louder so we can hear you.
Yeah, you got to make sure you're close enough to.
What is your positive thing for the week?
People will be like this now. Layla got like this far from the camera. But struggling in my own personal life, And the positive out of this is that I kind of want to brag on the people who have asked me how I'm doing, and whenever I'm blatantly say not okay, they ask. And granted, there's nothing anyone can do in my situation, but it's nice to know that people are like, I'm here if you need to talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just want to give props to the people who have allowed me to lean on them and offer me support whenever I need it. And so
I think we can segue that, and I'll ask you what type of support. I don't think we can say ideal, but what does good support look like for you?
So in this, so I think support varies based on the circumstances,
Yeah.
at least for me. So like in my personal life, this type of instance, it's more of like, listen to what I have to say. I don't need you to solve my problems. I'm smart enough to have solutions.
Yeah.
And if I don't have a solution, I don't need you to tell me one. You know what I mean? Just listen.
Yeah.
And if I need your opinion, then I'll ask for it.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I think a lot of people truly need that.
Yeah.
Whenever they come to you and want to talk to you about a problem that they're having, they don't want you to try to problem solve for them.
Yeah.
They just want you to be like, I get it. If there's anything I can do, ask.
Yeah.
And so like in this particular situation, that's all I could ever ask someone.
Yeah.
Is to just listen.
Turn it down a little bit.
Layla's like, I'm trying to watch this. You
I
guys
feel like people hear it. I think that being a support system for somebody, whether it be a client, whether it be a friend, a spouse, I don't want to say impossible, but I think it's super hard to be perfect.
Absolutely.
Because everybody, like for myself, I'm gonna speak for myself, clients, friends, a relationship, that all y'all are fucking different.
Yeah. And some people, like, for example, like you might have one friend will come to you and vent, and they want you to tell them, hey,
What to
do this. And another one just wants you to listen.
Right.
And so it's kind of hard. And like, even in my example, like in this particular situation, a lot of times I just want someone to listen. But, you know, if I'm like struggling with like a goal, for an example, like, hey, like I'm trying to do this, I'm just stuck. I have no idea what to do. That might be one of those opportunities where you would be like, hey, have you tried this? I'll be like, oh shit, like, no, I didn't. Like, why don't I, you know what I mean? Like,
but you sort of asked what to do when you said, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You know, but when it's not asked directly, like first of all, you have to learn. It takes time to learn.
Yeah.
It's like with you, I know by now, you don't give you a fix.
Because I almost take that as an insult on my intelligence, because it's like, because a lot of times, like this, I'm not knocking anyone who does, like, is a problem solver, but a lot of times the people who are problem solvers just throw out like, oh, why don't you like write in a journal, or you know what I mean? Like, no fucking shit. You know what I mean? Like, I've tried that. Like, it obviously doesn't help where I'd be doing it.
Help you, yeah.
Yeah.
But like you, I know that Layla, totally different.
Yeah.
So how do you navigate who you're talking to in that moment, what they need? Because I am like, I'm gonna say maybe for when I'm in a relationship, right? I don't know how to be as much of the emotional support as I do. I'm here to fix shit. I feel like that's my job, you know. So if you, I don't want to say whining about something, but if you,
Layla doesn't whine.
If you got something, if you cried about something, okay, well, how do we fix that?
Yeah.
You know, not just.
I think that's a male thing too.
Yeah, it is.
I think men tend to have like the I need to fix it mentality.
Right. Because there's a post that was going around on Instagram, and women were saying, it was like a video, and it was saying, this is when I try to talk to my male friend about my problems. He doesn't even give me 2 seconds to talk. He's already trying to find a solution.
Yeah.
You know, first of all, because we don't want to hear you crying for 3 hours, number one. So if we can cut this in half, that's the goal. Second of all, it it hurts our ego to feel helpless. I think more than
Yeah.
women. So if you sad or crying or stressed or whatever, and I can't help you, I feel I don't like that feeling.
Yeah.
So it makes me feel good to be able to send you off with a smile when you came needing help. So but and I'm the same way. Like I'll hold it in because I don't need you to just listen. I, if I'm gonna open up and say I got a problem, I want to leave this conversation with a solution to my problem.
Yeah.
Or I could have just kept it in.
Yeah.
At least that's how I am with most people now. I've learned in my relationship that she needs me to vent to feel close.
Yeah.
So I will, knowing that nothing's gonna change. But
You say it like that, and it sounds.
but it really is.
But for a woman, it's a part of intimacy. That's the reason. It's not obviously we don't. But you can't technically fix our problems either.
Not
Yeah.
all of them. 100%. Yeah.
Some of them are just emotional issues. You're just experiencing something that day, or you're down, whatever. But
It's a reassurance.
it's a reassurance, and it's just like I need to get this off my chest. Sean is like, nah, I don't want to get off my chest unless you got something to fix
Yeah.
for me. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not what venting is for.
Yeah.
Or therapy. Therapy is if you talk about it, they get to the bottom of it, the root of it, and that's how you fix the problem.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's where that came from.
Maybe I need a lot of therapy.
Have you ever been to therapy? That's a serious question.
No.
Have you?
Mhm.
I
have too.
And I'm about to start again.
Yeah. So, and I will say, like, it really helped me and changed my perspective on a lot of things. And there were so many times I think I was probably going every other week for almost 2 years.
When did you go and what made you?
So I was in a long-term relationship, and the girl I was with was seeing a counselor or a therapist, whatever you want to call them. And based on how she was describing me to her therapist was telling her that I was a narcissist, like legit narcissist. And so I'm like, you know me, Google, start researching. It took me about 5 minutes to determine I'm not a narcissist.
Mm-hmm.
Like legit narcissist.
You wouldn't be.
Now, do I have narcissistic tendencies? Absolutely. I think we all do to some degree.
Yeah.
And so she's like, no, you're a narcissist. I'm like, okay, I'll prove you wrong. But it changed my life, and I started going to a counselor, and I legit told him, I was like, I'm here because the girl I'm seeing thinks I'm a narcissist based on this and that, and it kind of segued into a lot of the reasons why I am the way I am, and some of the traits I have in my relationships as an adult, like stem from childhood. And it was always strange because I never felt like I needed it is one thing.
What, therapy?
Yeah. And I only did it to pacify her. But whenever I would have these appointments, I'd be sitting at work. I'm like, oh man, I got to go to counseling today.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything to talk about. Nothing's changed. Like we're still arguing.
Yeah.
The last 2 weeks, nothing's getting better.
Yeah.
But I would go in there and I sit there for a minute, and he may ask me a question or two, like, how's it going? And I just, then all of a sudden, like, word vomit. 45 minutes later, I haven't shut up.
Yeah.
And I go out, I leave, and I'm just like, man, like, I feel so much lighter.
Yeah.
And it was just like,
because it's somebody who's unbiased, and a good therapist, that's what they'll do to you.
Yeah.
They're not there to kind of like act and all this stuff. Because they can tell that you probably are on the defense.
Yeah.
That you don't want to be there and all these things. And they open the floor to slowly but surely you'll be the one that's talking. They're like, that's what this is for.
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely. I can see that.
I strongly encourage everyone to find. Here's the thing with therapy is that you have to find someone you have a connection with. As strange as that sounds, you just can't go in and talk to everyone because how they respond, their facial expressions, like their hand gestures, the questions they ask, how they ask them, all plays a role in how you're going to respond to them.
If it's working for you.
Yeah. And because you wouldn't just like go up to some stranger and just vent about your whole life,
Right.
And so like if there's not some level of trust there and some type of connection, then you're not going to be truly who you are. So, which is the frustrating part, is trying to find the right person, because it's not cheap. Like it's like $100 a session or 120 a session, and if you spend 2 or 3 sessions with someone, that's $300-400 you spent wasted if they're not a good one.
They're not right,
and then you got to go to another one and another one until you find the right person. But I will say, I got lucky. The second dude I went to, I clicked with. He changed my perspective, and if you can find that counselor, even if you only go once a month or once every other month, just to go get shit off your chest. That's why I do that thing on Fridays, like the anonymous thing. That's the whole point of that, is to give someone an opportunity to be like, this has been like on my mind for a whole freaking week. No one knows who's saying this, but I'm just going to say it, and hopefully it helps someone a little bit.
Yeah, I think that I didn't at first, just like you, obviously, but I haven't been, but I would.
Yeah,
100% would go to therapy. I just think for me, it's just getting over the hump of actually like doing it.
Yeah,
and I can be vulnerable, not to say the nervousness of telling my personal feelings to a stranger.
Yeah,
that I don't know you.
And it's funny because whenever I started going, I was expressing to my girlfriend at the time like how much I liked this dude.
Yeah.
And she ended up starting to go to him. Like, so I was going to him and she was going to him.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I actually really like him. Then we started going together. And it wasn't until we started going together that I realized like I was the one changing and she wasn't. And I quickly learned I wasn't the problem. And I'm not accusing her of the problem. Like, I created a lot of problems in that relationship. So I'm not pointing fingers or placing blame, but I was the one willing to change and she was stuck. Yeah. And I don't necessarily know why, but the moment I realized that was we were sitting in there together, and in that space, that was my space to be 100% me, 100% vulnerable, like say whatever I needed to say. Like, he was there to be the translator, the moderator, the person to help me communicate what I was trying to say to her, because I always felt like I spoke a different language than she did, or vice versa. And so we were in there and I was just venting, and she starts crying. And he asked her like, what's the matter? She's like, why are you two teaming up on me? And at that moment I realized that I wasn't the problem. So that's kind of off topic. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that could segue into so there's a guy that we both, I'll say know of, who recently stopped his prep, 3 weeks out from the show, 3 or 4 weeks out. For, I guess we can say, we don't have to say, but we both agree it was a good reason.
Yeah. Well, any reason's a good reason. And here's the thing, like the support system wise, like for you, we had this discussion and about this person, and you were kind of like, maybe he needed to be pushed a little bit more. And I'm like, well, I'm kind of like on his side, like I'm going to support whatever he decides, not push him to try to be a little bit more. But you were saying you're kind of the person that once you're kind of in that space, you kind of need that person to be like, hey, give it another week, or you know what I mean?
I think so I can relate it to, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners probably can't relate, so it's probably a stupid analogy, but pledging in college. And from what I've heard, black fraternities and white fraternities do a little bit different. So our process can be more related to a prep, in the sense of how hard it is physically, how hard it is mentally, how financially draining it is, how fucking just it's hell for an extended period of time. And I think in anything like that, a pledging process, a prep process, going through a lot of shit to get a degree or get a certain job, you're gonna have times where you want to give up. I think that's natural. So for me personally, yes, I don't want my support system to, as soon as I say I don't want to do it, say okay, because I'm gonna say that.
So here's my argument: is I'm kind of the person that I won't say I'm wanting to quit, I will keep my mouth shut and keep grinding it to the point that I'm literally going to break. And that's when I say I'm done.
Right.
Because to me, a good analogy is if you do HIIT training right.
Yeah.
I'm the person that when I did HIIT, 22 to 25 seconds, all out, is all I'm getting.
Yeah.
That's literally it. Or like, I feel like I'm dying.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm not quitting until I'm at that breaking point.
Yeah.
Like if I had kept going, I would have either passed out or my HIIT would no longer be HIIT. It would be subpar HIIT training.
Yeah.
And so like that's and where I'm getting at. Like to me, like I'm cruising along and dropping off. Like
Yeah.
and I think some people are doing this and then eventually quit.
But so then my question to you would be, how many people realistically have that mindset? There's a lot of people that I'm done with this. For a lot of people, is a cry for support or a cry for help.
Yeah.
Or, they don't want to be done, but
they want reassurance that they're going to do well. Or
they want reassurance that they're going to do well. If we get outside of talking about prep, they want reassurance that they're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
I'm still in the stage of my career where every time I still get nervous when I do well.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, sheesh, but then it's reassurance that I am doing what I was meant to do.
Yeah.
But
I talk to Layla sometimes and I'm just like, I don't know. That's
the better he does, the more anxiety he gets. It's
right.
So weird. But I think that's natural.
Well, I think you put more pressure on yourself to hold yourself to that new standard.
Right. And I think that, so I'm in the middle. I'm like you with a lot of things, but I will get to a point where, I'm just like, man, and I won't, only certain people I'll say it to.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it to random people, but I'll definitely tell her I'm done with this shit.
Yeah.
She knows I'm not fucking done. But if she says, well, then be done, I might fucking be done because that lets me know I'm in this by myself.
Yeah.
Or that's how I feel.
Speaking of, that triggered a thought I had in a story that I posted is about self-confidence.
Yeah.
No one can want something more than you can want it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if your goal, let's say your goal is to step on stage a year from now. If I want that for you more than you want it, that's not the right way for it to be.
100%.
You need to want it more than anyone else. You need to be, I'm fucking doing it. Like there's nothing that's going to stop me within reason.
Yeah.
And you need to have the confidence that you're going to make it and do well.
Yeah.
Because if I believe in you more than you believe in yourself, then why the fuck would I believe in you?
100%. I think that with this guy, we're talking about his situation. I feel like and I don't know what his coach said to him verbatim, but I do feel like I think if we put the pieces together, there could have been a happy median.
Yeah.
I guess if I was that guy, what I would want is not to say, okay, quit, but maybe ask some questions. Okay, you mentioned depression.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what it's from? Maybe you can talk me through it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, a lot of people, especially when we're talking about regular everyday people, when it comes to like hiring a coach or a trainer, a lot of them hire more for the support.
Yeah.
And the accountability than they do to tell them what to do.
I feel like this specific person's a little bit more like me, is that, and I don't know him super well.
Yeah.
But I am privy to a little bit of inside information. But based on what I can gather is his mindset's a little bit more like me. And the more I've spent time with him, the more I realize like he kind of thinks along the same line as me. And so I get it. Like he probably pushed himself to the point to where he's like, granted, no one knows where that end threshold is.
As I said, everybody's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like, am I this close to the edge? Am I this close to the edge? Or am I this close to the edge? You know what I mean? Like you never really know until you fall.
Right.
And no one wants to fall. So you always quit short. But who's to say how short he quit? Right. You know what I mean? And and quit's the wrong word. Like I'm not calling him a quitter because like I think he made the right choice if that's
you don't quit till you stop trying. And I feel like he's not dead.
Yeah. And to me, it's a matter of personal preference. Like, and like I said, if you came up to me and was like, John, like, I'm done. Okay, Sean, If that's what you want, I fully support it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like, man, you need to do it. You're going to do well. You're going to fucking crush it. Like, I can't want it more than you.
Yeah.
And if you don't want it, then I don't want it. I'm going to support what you currently want.
Yeah.
So, but, here's the thing. In every situation, every choice you make, there's always a different outcome you could have picked.
Yeah.
And when you make a decision, and whether it's 5 seconds later, 5 minutes later, 5 days, 5 years later, you can always look back and be like, maybe I should have done it this way. Yeah. I mean, every aspect in life is like that.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying anyone was wrong in any situation with what they did. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
And as long as everyone's happy, you know what I mean? Like, it ultimately doesn't matter.
Yeah. Like, if you think about Michael Jordan, I know you don't like sports, but I know
his documentary was awesome though.
Yeah. So like, you think
Dance.
about him, you don't think getting cut from the high school team, he wanted to quit? Somebody had to. Actually, I'm not asking that. I'm telling that because that's a known thing that he wanted to quit.
Yeah.
Somebody had to say, no, man, keep going. Don't
Did
quit. Did they have to or did they?
Well, did they?
His mom, was a big driving force in him not giving up.
Yeah.
And now, so I did think like my approach as a coach, I would not push you to do something that you weren't comfortable with.
Yeah.
But it would definitely be a conversation.
And I think there's a fine line between that because you're also talking about a high school kid playing basketball versus a grown ass man who is chemically enhanced, pushing his body to the limits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's apples and oranges. Yeah, it's hard to say, but I do agree. Like there are people that need that little push, and are circumstances where people need that little push. Like, but there's also people that aren't going to tell. Like, okay, this is a very extreme example, and we probably shouldn't even talk about suicide at all. But most people who commit suicide aren't the ones that tell you that they're going to.
Right.
They're the ones that just do it.
Yeah.
And the last thing you want is for that person to be say you're a coach and you got a client and you just keep pushing him and pushing him and pushing him, and all of a sudden he just doesn't show up again. Yeah. Do you want that on your?
That.
And I'm not saying this specific person is that by any means. And I'm using this as a very extreme example. Yeah. But that's what I'm getting at. It's like the people who talk a lot are the ones that don't do shit.
Yeah.
The ones that I'm like, oh, it's so hard. Like, I'm fucking starving. I'm tired. Those are the ones that aren't doing shit.
Yeah.
The ones who don't say they're tired, that just work in quiet, those are the ones that explode.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that I can agree with that 100%. So when is it right to let your people know, sticking to the example that we're using, have the floor open so that they can know that you don't have to just suffer in silence. I'm here, because I think when you pay a coach, especially good money, it should be, in my opinion, more than just for the X's and O's. It should be for some, if you need that.
I don't think so. So here's my thing with that is I think that when you become that person's friend, you lose sight of the objective, and you develop emotions that you cannot objectively see where you need to.
I think that, in my opinion, you can do, and this is any coaching. We don't, like we said, we're not going to stick to just the gym.
Yeah.
Any coaching. You can. Now, can everybody? I don't know. Probably not. But you can be a support system without being a friend.
What do you think? Michael Jordan, Phil Collins were going to dinner and all that shit together?
Yeah. They were playing golf together. They would go before games. They were going to dinner. They were playing cards. They did a lot of that stuff. They're friends now.
Okay. I mean,
so you can be, but I do agree that you do have to have that line.
Yeah.
You can't be not coaching.
Phil Collins was also a major fucking asshole.
And basketball is a little different.
Yeah.
Like if we're talking bodybuilding versus basketball or even powerlifting, anything like that.
Yeah.
It's a team sport, but it's more that person's talent. is where, depending on how much you lean on your coaches, Phil Collins isn't saying, "Hey, all right, turn here, do this, pass this, every little thing." He's just coaching the team.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different, but
That is true.
I do think that if you don't, I guess I'll continue to speak for myself. I don't need you just to give me the X's and O's. Well, I do until I don't.
Yeah.
When I do need something, because we both agreed in the episode earlier, this is something that you can't do by yourself. Anything you can do if we want to be technical, but at the risk of not being technical, the best of the best. How about that? Let's just talk about the best of the best right now.
You need
all of them have some support system.
Yeah, you do.
Behind them.
You do.
And I guarantee those support system for them is more than just what to do. It's
and your support system may not be your coach. It may not be your partner. It may not be your mom or dad. It could be
a gym buddy.
It could be your dog. You know what I mean? Like it could be anyone or anything. It could be your blanket from 1993. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't. But yeah, I agree. Like there's a support system for everyone, and everyone who's successful needs to have a support system, no matter what it is.
Yeah. Because we just talking about top presidents. Every president, I'm sure they leaned on their team and their wife and all that. By themselves, they would probably fucking commit suicide.
Yeah.
So I do think that the coach should. I don't. We're not saying names, but I think this coach, I would need to know exactly what was said.
Yeah.
But not knowing exactly what was said, I wouldn't. Me myself, I would not have just told him, "Hey, man, that's fine." I would at least try to see where this changed, because you bust your ass. He looks fucking amazing.
Yeah.
So to get to that point, you bust your ass.
Yeah. I think coaches and clients should not have a close friendship. Now, do I think a coach and a client can have a friendship? Yes, absolutely. And I think there needs to be some type of relationship there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't necessarily think you need to be grabbing dinner and working out, that type of stuff together. But me as a client, I need to know that when I tell you something that is not something you want to hear, you're not going to be like, stop being a fucking pussy. Suck it up. I don't need that.
Give me an example of something you would say to your coach.
Whenever first prep I had with Tyler.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I complained to him. I don't recall ever complaining, but no one ever recalls complaining during prep.
Right.
I do recall complaining a bunch to my girlfriend at the time. But I remember I was in the gym one day and I texted him. I was like, "Man, I am struggling. Like, I am weak as water. Like, I went from squatting 405 for sets of 10, like nothing, to being like 185 for a set of 5 is all I could do." And I remember texting him and being like, "Dude, I have to have something different. Something is not right. Like, something needs to change. I am struggling." And I don't exactly remember what words he used, but I'm pretty sure he said, "Don't be a pussy," or "Don't be a bitch," or something like that.
Yeah.
And in the moment, he probably thought like it was more like a comical type of thing, like how I would be with you in the gym, like, "Come on, Sean, don't be a bitch."
Yeah.
But I was not
playing in that moment.
I was not playing.
Yeah.
And I called him.
Yeah.
And
what'd you say when you called him?
I said, well, this was in 2017.
Right.
So Tyler has changed a ton since 2017. He's learned a ton since 2017. But I remember calling him and be like, "Man, don't ever call me a bitch or a pussy. Like, I'm not fucking playing." And but yeah, like I'm that person that I'm not gonna tell you I'm struggling until I'm like there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, or I think I'm there. Like, I'm gonna suffer and suffer and suffer until I don't think I can suffer anymore.
Yeah.
But I think but that's the problem, a little bit of a problem too, for people that do that, because I used to be that person. I held everything in, because any other time you probably wouldn't have been offended.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have. Like, if we had just been in the gym training and I, maybe stopped my set, a rep or two short.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, come on, John, you had 1 or 2 more. Don't be a bitch." I would probably would have laughed and like, okay, I got you on the next one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I think that when you use that example, there's a happy medium because y'all go back to college.
yeah,
You know, so when you say friends, this is 10 plus years.
Yeah.
As opposed to maybe a development of over 6 months.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a little bit different. So yeah, I do see that lengthy of a friendship could interfere with the coaching aspect 100%. You know, but I guess for me, I'm just speaking from experience. I want to develop a relationship because first of all, it helps me get to know your tendencies.
Yeah.
And I can call you on your bullshit.
Yeah.
If I don't know you and you say you're struggling, I just have to go with that.
Yeah.
And maybe you just fucking being a bitch.
Yeah.
You know,
I think there is some like I said, I think there is some type of relationship that needs to happen between a coach and a client, not only for the coach to learn that individual's body and response, how they, respond to refeed meals or carbs versus fats or certain types of training, but also how they respond to stressors in their lives. Like, okay, they work a physically demanding job. They work a mentally demanding job. They're going through a divorce. They just got in a new relationship. You know what I mean? Like, it's all that plays a role into how someone responds and reacts to stresses and stimulus in their life. So I think there definitely needs to be a relationship, but I don't think a coach and a client should be best friends.
Well, not best friends, no, but they need to be comfortable enough with you to tell you the truth.
Yes, and that's what I'm getting at. It's like there needs to be enough relationship there to where they trust you.
Yeah.
But if you're paying someone, you should fucking trust them.
You would think, yeah. You know, like if you are skipping the gym because of, I don't know, something personal.
Yeah.
You should be comfortable enough to tell your coach, I'm not training today.
Yeah.
For X, Y, Z.
Well, to me, you don't even have to say why. Just be like, say you're my coach, and we're not as good friends as what we are now, but just say like, I hit you up and be like, Sean, I'm not training today. I got some shit going on. I'll get back after it tomorrow.
Yeah.
You should be like, to me, this is how I would want you to respond. Hey man, no worries. We'll get back on track tomorrow.
Yeah.
And leave it at that.
But
now, if it was persistent, then that's when I would want you to chime in and be like, hey, you've missed like 4 days in a row. What's going on?
Yeah. And see, I think that it also comes down to the client. I would trust you to know that you're a hard worker, so it must be something.
Yeah.
As opposed to somebody who this is all the time.
Yeah.
You know, a guy today, I'll never say names, but I don't think he does social media, so he probably would never see this anyway. But every week it's 70% because of this.
Yeah.
It's always something. So today I finally said, look, man, you need to start differentiating between hard and impossible. Like, if work did this and kids did that and this did that, so it's impossible for you to do X, Y, and Z. Okay.
Yeah.
But if it's just going to be a little harder to do it because of X, Y, and Z, that's different. If fitness and getting in shape was easy, we wouldn't be in the position we're in as a fucking country. I'm sure all the countries, but I'm just going to speak for the U.S. Yeah. We wouldn't be as fucking fat as we are.
Well, off topic, but one of my friends just went to Scotland.
Yeah.
And she was saying that she's able to eat the bread over there, but not here.
Like she can tolerate it?
Yeah. Like apparently.
It's made different.
Yeah, which is, to me, it's like so strange that she can like go to like fast food places over there or restaurants over there and things like that and eat foods there that she can't hear.
Yeah.
You know that, I don't know if they can hear me, but.
Yeah, I'm sure they can.
A lot of the stuff that they allow in the fast food restaurants here are not over there. Like a lot of the chemicals and all the things that they use here are banned and illegal over there. So that's probably the reason why.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, another one we had on here. My phone's frozen up.
And kind of while you're looking, it's like I ate all that food last Sunday and I didn't even really feel that bad. I mean, I was definitely way too full, but like I didn't feel like trash. But, if I were to go eat that much, like just say I only ate that pizza out at a restaurant, I would have felt like garbage the next day.
Okay. So, goal setting. And you mentioned something, like right before we walked over here.
I mentioned that fasting video. I do remember.
Yes. Perfect. John's great memory. Okay. All right. So, we'll just put it in the video. Later we'll edit it in so you can see what we're talking about. But Kevin Gates claims that he fasted for
fasted.
So fasting per Kevin Gates now is no food and liquid. You can have liquid. Dry is nothing. And he did this for 3 weeks.
Yes.
Because I'd have never did dry fasting was like close to a month, about 3 weeks.
Kev,
No food, no
bro.
water.
Come on. How do you?
Okay.
How do you?
Okay. Watch
Yeah,
this.
talk to me.
When your cell breaks in half, it releases hydrogen. What do we breathe in?
Oxygen,
Hydrogen to oxygen is what?
water.
We create our own water.
Man, I'm going to take your word for it because Lord knows.
Please don't. When our cells break in half, when the body don't have nothing to eat, it start eating up all your bad cells. When your cells break, it releases hydrogen. We breathe in oxygen. The chemical compound for water is hydrogen to oxygen. I'm really a genius, but I just don't be trying to just broadcast that to the world.
Yes.
Did he do it or did he not?
Fuck no, he did not.
Why not?
Okay, I didn't watch the whole video because I was like, "There's no fucking way. I'm not even watching this nonsense." But basically, he said that I'm not a chemist.
Right.
I'm an engineer. But he said because you breathe in oxygen and our atoms or our cells have hydrogen, water is made up.
We make our own water
of hydrogen and water, or hydrogen and oxygen, and when the cells split, it releases the hydrogen and forms water, and we make our own water. And that's when I turned it off. But no,
So basically, after you turned it off, he finished by, I think the co-host or whatever asked him, "How do you get through it, and how do you whatever?" And he's like, "That's when you pray, and that's when you get the spiritual." See, Kevin Gates, man, I'm not a fan of today's music at all, but I do know that he went from like this fat, hardcore rapper supposedly to now he's super fucking weird and skinny and spiritual.
Okay.
So I think that anything that makes him seem like he's in touch with something deeper. You know how those spiritual motherfuckers are, man.
No, I don't. Tell me.
I don't have a lot of access to a lot of them, but but I'm not fucking one of them.
Layla's got her stones out.
Layla's
No,
a
I'm
lot
kidding.
more spiritual than I am, but I
Do you believe in ghosts?
I don't know.
Do you believe in aliens?
I mean, honestly, I can definitely say that there. To me, I've never seen evidence, but I can say that out of all of this, there's nothing else out there.
For aliens.
Living being. Or
talking about aliens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you also never had an experience with a ghost.
I wouldn't say I had an experience with ghosts, but back home where I used to live in Curacao, they used to say that there was something in our house, that there was a spirit that was in.
Who was they?
My mom.
Oh.
But you never had an experience with this particular spirit or whatever.
I feel like I have with the ghost thing.
This is way off topic from fasting.
There are certain things that happen in the home that you can deem that, but yeah.
That would be mine. So my mom, when I would go home and stay with her, like she was sick, she was sick and she had been sick so long that she wasn't right anymore in the head, you know. So she was convinced that she couldn't move much.
Okay.
So her room was here. I was sleeping in this room. So like she has to walk past my room to get to the rest of the apartment. And she would get herself out of bed. And I'm sure it was painful. Get herself out of bed. I told you her Achilles heel was Diet Pepsi. You know, I know you say, what's wrong with that? But she would drink a 24 case in a day.
It's got number one ingredients, water.
So it's fucking not, she might as well drink nothing then. We just create our own water. But
we got to finish that. After your story, we got to finish the fasting thing.
But she would get up and she would manage to walk into, she had a colostomy bag and the fucking thing that she carried it with. So lug all that shit into the room that I was in, tapped me on the hand, asked me to get up and go. It wasn't a mansion. 5 feet further to get her a Diet Pepsi, and then managed to get back in her bed. So after she passed, randomly here and there every week when I was sleeping, I made a habit. I don't know why I sleep with my hand off the side of the bed, and I would always feel something touch my hand. And it never happened in my life before until she passed away.
Yeah.
So was that her? I like to think it was, but
Yeah.
who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
But I say yes because it made me feel good. But so yes, I believe in ghosts. But yeah, with the Kevin Gates. So that he said he just prayed to get through it. He did not fucking go 3 weeks.
Yeah. I think like
Nothing.
legitimately, I think it's like 8 days you can survive without water or something like that. Or maybe not even that long. Maybe it's 8 days.
I thought it was like 5 days.
Maybe it is. Listen,
with no water or no liquid at all. It might not have to be water. Well, you're getting water in whatever you drink. I guess it's water and everything, but but 3 weeks with nothing. There's no way. No fucking way. Like you said, maybe if you say I went to the fucking woods by myself.
let me
There's
see.
a guy that actually tried to do that. I was telling you about him. He was trying to emulate what I'll put that on there. He was
I hope
trying
y'all
to
can hear
emulate, what the story that Jesus went and fasted for, I don't know how many days is it? Is it 7, 14? Well, how many do you know for sure?
Man.
Anyways, he tried to go and do this and literally died. Like the people tried to come and give him stuff. He said, no, this is the part where you're supposed to push through and whatever. And he's literally dying in front of these people. He ended up passing away.
I didn't know Jesus fasted. Jesus was fucking jacked. Based on what I've seen, man. Black Jesus, white Jesus, they were all jacked. So I didn't know he fasted. But yeah.
I'm trying to find like a legitimate source, not WikiHow, on how long you can.
I think that I do like that though. The thought of those times when you hunted your own food and pretty much you had to eat raw food for the most part. I mean, I guess they was cooking over a fire outside. And everything was manual labor and moving stones and rocks. All them motherfuckers were jacked.
Yeah. So this says, as a general rule of thumb, a person can survive without water for 3 days.
That's it.
Yeah.
So when they say, if I just, are they saying today? We'll start tomorrow. From tomorrow
From
through
midnight.
Wednesday, if I didn't drink any water, I would die. Or I would get extremely sick.
I think what it's saying is, if we're understanding dry fasting correctly, it's literally nothing goes into your body. Right? You can survive 3 days.
Well, then again,
I feel like it's a little bit longer than that because they have those stories where these people, that guy, I don't know if it was a group, but it was definitely a story of a guy that was on that got stranded in the ocean.
Yeah.
For like 7 days.
He was drinking ocean water, I thought.
Something like that, and he caught some fish, and it was like, it happens to where our body kind of like helps us in those instances to where he was even able to process that meat and stuff, but I don't know.
So he was consuming something.
He was consuming something.
This is literally nothing. For 3 days of literally nothing going into your body.
And then again, this credible source is Kevin Gates.
Well, let's just double 3 days and say it's 6 days. That's still, Kevin Gates is claiming over twice as long.
Now, Kevin Gates is claiming 7 times as long, to be exact.
No, 3 weeks.
It's 21 days.
Yeah, so
They're saying 3 days.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for the 3 days. Yeah, you're right.
He's 7 times as long.
I was just saying being conservative and say it's 6 days. So it's
okay. Well,
yeah.
Regardless, 3.5 times.
Yeah, it's astronomical.
He's a liar. But again,
yeah, there's no way.
He's
probably getting like IVs or something. You know what I mean? Like those hydration IVs.
You're giving him the benefit of the doubt. I just think he's lying.
Well, yeah, I'm sure he is, but
I just think it's attention. Again, he's trying to be. So when I was in Louisville, and we'll wrap it up, I guess. But when I was in Louisville, the Derby, a lot of celebrities would come in town and they would go to the gym.
Yeah.
He was one of them that came. which I thought was hilarious because nobody gave a fuck. Like, as big as he probably thinks he is in his head, not a single person there besides one guy
Yeah.
who's into rap. Like, he raps himself. Gave two shits about who he was. But he comes in, he has his yoga mat, and he does his little yoga, and it's so weird. The shit he's doing. Like, don't get me wrong, yoga is great.
Yeah.
You know, Pilates, all that shit is hard and it's great. I don't know what the fuck that was he was doing, but I know he calls it yoga. And then like he does this little weird workout. He's a fucking weird guy, man. And based on like his music videos and the persona he had at first, I would say he probably wasn't so weird.
Yeah.
But now that he's spiritual and skinny, he's also weird as fuck.
But I feel like that was irresponsible what he did, what he said.
It's irresponsible for him to claim he's doing 13 days because someone who
21.
Yeah.
3 weeks.
I thought he said originally 13 days. Then he said 3 weeks. Well, either way.
We'll put the video in there.
Yeah. Anyways, for him to be claiming he did this, someone's going to be like, oh, man, look at how much he changed and try it themselves and potentially kill herself.
He has a fan base.
Yeah.
And I think that I don't think they would go so far as to die because I feel like they would. I hope they would be fucking smart enough that I'm dying. Fuck this.
But you don't get that some people have that type of influence.
Yeah.
Look at that show that I was watching the other day that was based on true facts. Like,
Well, I think Beyonce and
this
Kevin
girl was like a
Gates.
super fan of Beyonce. It's like a true story, but it's like a show now they have of it. Super fan. Anybody on social media that talks shit about Beyonce, she went and will stalk them and kill them.
But again, Beyonce, and don't get me wrong, shout out to Patrick.
But people are like that
Beehive.
about like people that are just in their lives. You know what I mean? Like people just get obsessed with random people. It doesn't have to be a celebrity.
Exactly. They could be obsessed with you, John.
Yeah, I might have a stalker right now.
Right now.
I'm obsessed with you, Layla.
Are you saying
You're not gonna fucking make me kill myself?
Are you claiming I'm not famous enough to have my own stalker?
You don't think that I'm good enough?
I'm not attributing fame to a stalker.
You're saying I'm not good enough that someone wouldn't kill for me.
Kill or kill themselves. John, if you asked me to kill someone, I would be much more inclined to kill a person than to kill myself.
What? Yeah.
Fuck that. I'll kill you. But
Edit that part out.
Right.
Bleep that part out.
Or you don't have to. But to die via starvation,
Yeah.
that's probably up there with fucking drowning.
Yeah.
Like to just sit there. You've been hungry.
Oh, I've been in prep. I've been ultra shredded.
Don't fuck yourself, man. So imagine
I'm not a pussy. I'm hungry bastard.
So imagine you 2 weeks into that.
It wasn't even the fact that I was starving. It was the fact that I was starving and
Weak
as
shit.
water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I remember doing cardio almost like I would get so dizzy doing cardio, I'd have to stop and break my cardio up into sessions. You know, so I'd have to do like 15-minute get off, 15 more minutes, get off, 15 more minutes.
How much were you eating? How little were you eating?
1,200 calories, maybe 1,400 calories. I was eating till I think my first meal was egg whites, just egg whites. My second, so egg whites, second, third, fourth, fifth meal may have been.
We was all in the woods, trapped for days. John could fish.
John could fish, but
He
can
could.
you?
Yeah, I could.
Gut the fish.
I've never done that.
He could run down a fucking moose
Yes,
and like, take it down by the antlers.
yes. Factual. I have taken down a moose before.